Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Kern Community College District Board of Trustees. At this time, I'd like to call this meeting to order. We'll start with the roll. Jennifer?
Yes. Trustee Scribner?
Here.
Trustee Jimenez?
Here.
Trustee Gomez-Heitzberg?
Here.
Trustee Corkins?
Here.
Trustee Aguilar?
Here.
That includes Trustee Carter and Trustee Meek are absent.
Thank you, Jennifer. The sufficient number of members present, we've established a quorum, so we'll proceed with our agenda. And we'll start with the adoption of the agenda. I will call for a motion to adopt the agenda with an amendment to remove agenda items 3A.3, 15K, and 16C, and to amend item 13A by pulling the Bakersfield College Educational Master Plan until a later date.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Trustee Corkins, seconded by Trustee Scribner. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Our next item, letter C, approval of emeritus recommendations. Chancellor Berg?
So, in recognition of the years of valued service and contributions to the Kern Community College District, the Board of Trustees established the title Emeritus to be granted to those who meet the standards as set forth in this board policy. The objective of this policy is to honor past services and encourage and maximize the inclusion of emeriti in district and college activities after retirement. I have recommended to the board that the title of emeritus be granted to the individuals listed below on this item, having met the standards as set forth in board policy. Bakersfield College, Mr. Ron Graves, Mr. David Myers, Mr. Kenward Vaughn, Mr. Mark Stoller, Mr. Robert Torres, Ms. Beth Mulder, Ari Andreasen, and Mr. Donald Turney. At Saracosa Community College, recommended Mr. Tom Foggia, and at Porterville College, I've recommended Mr. Miles Vega. Are we doing the award right now?
We'll do the presentation at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So with that, thank you, Chancellor Berg. We'll entertain a motion to approve the recommendations.
So moved.
We have a
Second.
motion by Trustee Corkins, seconded by Trustee Gomez-Heitzberg. Any discussion on the item? If there are none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Next item is letter D, revision of the 2023-24 board calendar of meetings. Chancellor Berg?
Yes, Trustee Scribner, I had asked that we potentially discuss a change in the board calendar meeting for a future meeting. She has a challenge meeting the, if I recall, the
January.
January meeting. And so she is asking that the board consider changing the January meeting date.
Okay. Thank you. So is there a motion to approve with the change?
Well, do we have a date change recommended? I couldn't find one.
Do we, Jennifer, is there a recommended date?
Well, we're gonna poll the board to see what works.
Just a discussion item for today to go ahead and hold the board.
Yeah, because I travel part of January also. So, that's fine.
Trustee Scribner, is there a date that would be preferable?
The week of that meeting, I will be out that entire week, so I can be flexible beyond that. I don't have the calendar in front of me, but I think we're not discussing it here now. We're just making a motion to discuss.
It was a discussion item to go ahead and
Nail it
how
down
you'd
today.
like to handle conflicts with the
Oh,
with the
okay.
calendar.
So, yeah, if it's comfortable for the board to consider adjusting that date, otherwise I will be absent, but I appreciate the fact that, you know, if it doesn't, we have 2 absent members today, so that sometimes happens. I'm not suggesting that we should accommodate my schedule, but rather just trying to be early and forthcoming that will be a difficult date for me to attend.
So the January meeting is currently set for January 18th, 2024. That would be the annual board retreat.
Okay, can we do a poll of the board and just see what works this next week or so?
Sure.
Because I don't have my calendar in front of me. I've got conflicts through late January also.
Okay.
So
So
I'm in Texas on business.
we will do a poll of all
Okay.
7 members.
We've had to do that before for January because we're all a little different.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay, so with that, do you prefer that we do that in the form of a motion to give direction to Jennifer to pull the board for an appropriate date for January's meeting?
I think we're fine with just
Okay,
With my consensus.
just by consensus is good. Okay, all right, perfect, thank you. Moving on to letter E. This is a discussion item regarding the Bakersfield College president search. Chancellor Burke.
Yes, we are going to be embarking on the recruitment for the new Bakersfield College president. And the question, the last recruitment involved a member of the board, I believe Trustee Meek was on, helped with the recruitment process of this, basically the screening committee. And so I brought this item forward to ask the board if they would like to have a representative of the board again on the screening committee for the Bakersfield College president search.
Thank you, Chancellor Burke. We're also in the process of conducting a recruitment for the chancellor of the Kern Community College District, and I nominated Trustee Gomez Heitzberg to chair that committee on behalf of the board.
Hello.
So, I hear somebody say hello.
Hello.
Oh, well,
Hello.
We have somebody on Zoom.
Somebody on Zoom.
We haven't quite started
Yes,
yet.
I've been trying to pay. I have no notice where that would be going on. So I'm waiting to join a Zoom, so I can't really call
okay,
Okay.
She's not there anymore.
pardon the interruption. So, as I noted, that we're in the process of conducting a search for our next chancellor, and I've appointed Nan Gomez Heitzberg to serve as the board's representative to chair that specific committee. So in line with that, I do believe that the board's participation in the BC president search is equally important, and for those reasons, I've asked to step up and chair the committee myself. Unless there's an objection from members of the board, I'd be happy to do it on behalf of the board.
Perfect. Sounds good to me.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Do we need an action? We need to take action on that?
I don't believe so. There's consensus of the board.
Consensus.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. So we'll move on to number 2, public comments. At this time, the public may address the Board of Trustees on any matter on the closed session agenda. Each speaker will be allowed a maximum of 5 minutes per topic. 20 minutes shall be the maximum time allotment for public speakers on any one subject, regardless of the number of speakers at any one board meeting. At the discretion of a majority of the board, these times may be extended. Each person who addresses the board must first be recognized by the presiding officer. Comments must be addressed to the board as a whole and not to individual members or district employees. The board and staff are not obligated to comment on or respond to or address comments by the public. At the opening of this meeting, names and agenda items were taken for public comments. Are there any additional members of the public who wish to make public comments at this time? If so, please state your name and the item you wish to address.
We did not receive any requests for public comments.
Okay, thank you. Anybody from the audience wishing to speak at this time? Hearing or seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public comment portion of the meeting, and we will proceed to adjournment into closed session. The board will reconvene at 1 o'clock for those who are interested in coming back. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Kern Community College District Board of Trustees. This time the board will reconvene. We'll go ahead and call the roll. Jennifer?
Yes. Trustee Scribner?
Here.
Trustee Jimenez?
Here.
Trustee Gomez Heitzberg?
Here.
Trustee Corkin?
Here.
Trustee Agala,
Here.
trustees K, Meek, and Carter are absent. That concludes the roll.
Thank you. A sufficient number of members present, a quorum has been established, and we'll proceed with the next item on the agenda, which is the Pledge of Allegiance. And I'd like to ask Trustee Corkins to please lead us in the pledge.
Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Trustee Corkins. Next item is report of actions taken in closed session. There was no action taken on any of the items discussed in closed session this morning. So that brings us to the public comment portion of our meeting. At this time, the public may address the Board of Trustees on any matter on the agenda. Each speaker will be allowed a maximum of 5 minutes per topic. 20 minutes shall be the maximum time allotment for public speakers on any one subject, regardless of the number of speakers at any one board meeting. At the discretion of a majority of the board, these times may be extended. Each person who addresses the board must first be recognized by the presiding officer. Comments must be addressed to the board as a whole and not to individual members or district employees. The board and staff are not obligated to comment on or respond to or address comments by the public. At the opening of this meeting, names and agenda items were taken for public comments. Are there any additional members of the public who wish to make public comments at this time? If so, please state your name and list the item you wish to address. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak to the board at this time? Okay. Paula Dahl.
I'm grateful for this opportunity to stand before you. I've had this opportunity a few times in my life. And today's the hardest. I want to address to you some major concerns I have with the culture of Bakersfield College, the area that I work in, and what I consider a total disregard for Title IX and the female athletics and the female athletes that I have represented for 29 years of my life. I was very grateful in 1994 when Bakersfield College took a chance on a young woman and gave her her first head coaching position. I took that very seriously. And I wore Bakersfield College, BC, created t-shirts every year. And I wore that with pride. I did everything that I could to represent my school in the best way possible. I was respected at the state level. I'm still involved in those things because I am passionate about women. I'm passionate about women's athletics. And I'm passionate about the fact that since 1972, when Title IX was passed, that we continue to find fewer and fewer women coaching. In March, I had the opportunity of putting on a Title IX celebration that many of you were at. It was an incredibly successful day. That wasn't a result of my department or the support from my department. As a matter of fact, when it was difficult for me to ask, but only because I thought I should for help, I was told they just want us to come in and save this thing, and when it fails, it'll be on us. 3 weeks out, we had 5 people signed up. I knew we would fill the event because I knew what I could do. 3 weeks later, that event was full. We had high school representatives, 175 female athletes and their coaches, and we educated them about Title IX and the importance of it. I had the GOAT there, Cheryl Miller, my very dear friend who's in the middle of her own Title IX fight, Alicia Berber. And at that point in time, I lied. Didn't mean to lie, but I lied. Because I said, thank heavens here we don't have these issues, but we do. We have a tradition that has not been a good tradition that started when Jeff Chudy stepped down from his position. We replaced Jeff Chudy with a professional expert making over $100,000 a year. That happened very quickly. Then we had Rich Hughes step down from basketball. His position was replaced very quickly as a professional expert making $100,000 plus a year. Then we had Scott Dameron, and all we have in common is all of us were full-time faculty members and coaches. He stepped down. His position for women's soccer was replaced as an adjunct faculty member making $26,000 a year. Almost 75% less. Then we had Tim Payton retire. And at this point in time, I was in a position, I'd even talked to Zav, he thought it had been fixed. I said, we have a massive Title IX issue that needs to be taken care of. I talked to many people here and said, this needs to be taken care of. So when I decided that I needed to step down from my position, I called Zav. Dr. Databai, I'm sorry, I'm being informal. And I said, when this happens, it needs to be treated the same way as the men's basketball position. And he agreed. But at that point in time, there was a transition happening. And so he turned it over, and I said, please, in an email, please show respect to the female athletes. Please don't show that Bakersfield College has a total disregard for the female athlete. And then my position was replaced at $26,000 a year, assuming that they make the same as our women's soccer coach. And all these numbers I got were from Transparent California, just so you know. Imagine my shock when I looked up what our men's assistant coach had made. He's not here any longer. I don't know what the new assistant coach is making. That he was making $34,000 a year. 34, yeah. So their combined salary for men's basketball was almost $135,000. $135,000. I had one assistant at $4,000. When Sonia Christian was my president, I was able to have 2 assistants, but when Sandy Taylor retired, I only was able to have 1. I've talked to many people. This is a horrible situation. So then I'm told we're going in a new direction. And all I know is we have a faculty position that we're hiring. And before I know it, we have hired a full-time faculty member / football coach. Now, if you were going to hire a new faculty coaching position, that should have actually been women's soccer. But instead, we went with football. So as I see it, we have 4 men's positions that have been replaced with $100,000 or more. And 2 women's positions that have been replaced at $26,000. We might as well be back in 1972. I am asking the board that this be changed. One of my mottos I'm trying to follow is courage over compromise. Many people don't speak up because they're afraid of what's going to happen. There have been many things that have happened to me. I was given the opportunity to serve as the women's athletic faculty director. And all I was met with was obstacles and challenges and obstacles and challenges, and told that I wasn't supposed to be there. And if I wanted to come back, I needed to go through ZAV, and went through more obstacles and challenges. And it never stopped. At one point, I was told that I was not needed because one of the members on the leadership team had 3 daughters. This member was a man who had 3 daughters, and so if they were out of line, they would let them know what they needed to do because a man had 3 daughters. After enduring my second department meeting where myself and my position was attacked, that night I stepped down from that position. And 48 hours later, I stepped down as the women's basketball coach to protect myself. Is this who we want to be? Is this the direction we want to be at? Now, personally, when my brother said to me, "Paula, what are you doing?" I'm grateful for that because I was able to get myself out of a bad situation as best as I possibly could. There's others. Talk to people in our department. They talk about how toxic it is. Someone the other day goes, "Paula, are you okay?" Not knowing what happened. I said, "I'm great." Their response was, "Because you're always so happy and positive, and this place is so toxic." It's a shame. And people feel that across campus. This is not who we are. This is not who we should be. And women should feel like they can speak up, that they have a voice at the table. We should be protected. Now, for me personally, I'm good. I'm good. I'm moving on in my life. I'm doing positive things. I'm hoping to be able to help in these types of situations. But if I don't stand before you and fight for our female athletes, one of the most horrible things I heard was when I was talking to someone at Human Resources, and they were told that these 2 positions were not paid as much. They were told this because they don't require the same amount of hours. Our women aren't valued as much. The seasons are just as long. I know what it requires. So please, I am begging the board. There is no need to do more research. It is in front of you with black and white. I sent it to you. Please do the right thing. Make this change. Let the women know that they are valued and that they count. Title IX is here. We should not be the people that are ignoring it. Bakersfield College athletics has always been the standard in the state. I'm begging that we can get that back there. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Cornelio Corny Rodriguez.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me a few minutes to speak. My name is Cornelio, better known as Corny Rodriguez. I'm retired at Bakersfield College. Retired in higher education after 40 years. I know I still look young, but it's all right. A few community leaders in greater Bakersfield, Kern County got together, and when they found out that there's a vacancy for leadership at Bakersfield College, and then the chancellor position, and then also our sister university across the way, Cal State Bakersfield, and then, on and on. And they had a concern, so they invited me to meet because we wanted to, some of them have already spoken with you. And just a reminder in terms of the demographics of our community, who we serve, who we are. We're a Hispanic serving institution, and also been working to help, if we can, to assist in identifying qualified individuals that would represent the students that we serve. I too, as Paula indicated, I'm good. I'm good. I've retired, but I still care about our community, and I want to also emphasize that we would like to work in conjunction with identifying qualified individuals with you, but also looking at the process. And part of that process was looking at the screening committee for the chancellor and hoping that that screening committee would also be diverse. I don't know what the outcome is. I hope that you could provide this group at least the demographics of that committee so that we can continue to work with you in terms of hopefully identifying individuals that have the same characteristics, understand our student population, come from the same backgrounds. I felt really comfortable at home when I was at Bakersfield College. I grew up in Norwalk down south, but I worked the field starting at 10 years old. I'm a field worker. I came from a poor family. My parents were primarily Spanish speaking, and I think I identified with many of the students that we serve. And I think that I hope and I'd like to believe that the work that I did with Bakersfield College help increase those numbers and help with student success in that regard. And so that we're looking for individuals that might have similar characteristics so that they can help our students succeed and provide a better workforce and also economic situation for our county. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd wish to speak to the board at this time? Okay, hearing or seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public comment portion of this meeting. Sorry, Trustee Jimenez?
Yeah, for our chancellor, are we able to provide the demographics of the screening committee, or can you provide an overlook of how the next steps are going to look so the community can understand the process?
I can provide the demographics of the screening committee. The Chancellor's screening committee has 17 total members. Of the 17, 5 are of Hispanic, Latino, Mexican ethnicity. There's one African American member with African American ethnicity. There's one member with Chinese ethnicity, and there's one member with a Native American ethnicity. There are 4 white non-Hispanic members on the committee. There's also 5. The requirement to identify your ethnicity is not required. 2 of the members opted to not state their ethnic background, and the 3 community members we did not request the ethnicity from the 3 community members that were put forward by the foundation. Those are the 5 unknown. So those are the demographics of the screening committee.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor Berg. So we'll close the public comment portion of the meeting at this time, and we'll move on to our next item, number 6. This is a work study presentation on the educational master plans for Saracosa Community College and Porterville College. Chancellor Berg.
Thank you. Bakersfield College has been working on their educational master plan along with the other 2 colleges. There is a specific area in their EMP that the BC team would like to develop further. So the presentation and approval of the Bakersfield College plan will be deferred to either the October or November board trustees meeting. At this time, however, we will move forward with the presentation, brief presentation of the Saracosa Community College Educational Master Plan and the Porterville College Educational Master Plan. And I would ask Gregory to introduce the colleges.
Perfect. Thank you, Chancellor Burke, and thank you, trustees. As we anticipate the presentations by the 2 college presidents, I thought it would be helpful to point out a few of the common features of the college's educational master planning processes and the content within them, and then some of the unique features. So on slide 2, we have the approaches common to both of the colleges, and those include an inclusive, authentic, and transparent process. If you visit the campus and you ask who is involved, you're going to get many different answers. That's because so many were involved at the campuses. And it's a very clear process that's very well documented, which of course will help us in accreditation. The second one, I was very impressed to see that the colleges did a deep dive into externalities. They analyzed the demographics of the communities, They examined the environment that we are in. They looked at policy. They looked at legislative implications. They looked at wealthier communities as opposed to poorer communities. They examined all those externalities and incorporated them into their educational master plans. Another key feature is that they recognize the critical role of student support in success. So they're seeking efficiency as they braid the student support, and they're bringing an effectiveness and analysis to it. We also see that the Guided Pathways framework has been embedded in our colleges. It's not an initiative that was forgotten, it's now deeply embedded, and that anchors the work, especially now that we're focusing on teaching and learning within Pillar 4. We also need to recognize the fiscal implications of the work, and that's why it's important that we see that SCFF is embedded as well, because by recognizing who we are serving, we also maximize revenue, which is essential to deliver what we want. Finally, the recognition of strategic partnerships. If we know who we are going to be benefiting, we need to strengthen those partnerships. Now, to go on to some of the unique components, before I turn it over to the two presidents, a couple of the colleges are talking about bachelor's degree and really recognizing that we need to plan ahead for that. Talking about the kinds of partnership, for example, Saracoso is emphasizing a military partnership and making that sustainable and recognizing the critical role of their partnership with the military. International students is a focus of one of the colleges. OER is a focus here with Porterville College. Renewable energy comes up in a couple of the colleges, and culturally relevant outreach, making sure we meet the needs of the different cultures that we face. So those are some of the unique components. And then, as Chancellor suggested, we'll turn it over to the two colleges, starting with President Hancock from Saracosa Community College.
President Agbalog, trustees, Chancellor Burke. So to begin with, before I go into the details of the process, as you know, the Educational Master Plan serves as our roadmap over the next 5 years. And it ensures that our academic programs and services are aligned with the needs of our students and local employers now and into the future. This process was overseen by our college council and included numerous interactions with all stakeholders and culminated in a 2-day workshop where we finalized our draft of their plan. So if you look on the process sheet within the packet, we really focus on understanding how our educational programs serve the needs of the diverse student populations and our local employers. And when I say these student populations and local employers, of course, that goes all the way from Mammoth on down to Tehachapi and Edwards Air Force Base. And so we're a very, very dynamic, very vast service area with varying needs. We analyzed data on labor market needs, so we did a deep dive in those communities, actually looking at a 25-mile radius, a 50-mile radius of each of these communities to identify what are the needs, what's the student demand, what are they interested in. All of these things, the analytics we looked at is like, what are the programs that students are searching for when they're doing a search online. We used proprietary software that through the company we were working with to identify these things and weight these different metrics. Employment opportunities, how many postings for specific types of jobs. What's the external education market for the various, what's the competition that we're facing within our area? Not much, but in the online market there is a great deal of growing competition. All right, so on the next slide, challenges. So as I mentioned, our geography. Vast geographies and remote locations, student, faculty, staff are located far from campus centers and have to travel long distances to either attend or teach face-to-face and provide in-person support services. And this can create a barrier, access to our classrooms and with recruitment and retention of employees. Some areas are experiencing growth, so population shifts. Like Tehachapi is growing right now. However, we have seen some declines in the Mammoth area. So there are different communities have different dynamics that are taking place with regard to the populations. So that's a challenge that we have to look and adjust our resources accordingly. Student needs for both academic and non-academic services and support are adding pressure on the college by demanding additional resources and facility spaces based on those shifting needs within those communities. And CDCR, prison closures, and adjusting our resources accordingly for that. So that's been a challenge. But I'm happy to report that we're still showing a year-over-year, actually over 2 years increase in FTES after having experienced a prison closing and the largest yard in Tehachapi closing. So that's huge success. And more colleges in the online competition, as I mentioned, more colleges from all sectors and award levels have expanded online options. You can't watch television without seeing several ads by different colleges and universities. So that online space has become very competitive. It's something that we've excelled at for over 25 years. However, that, we have to step up our game and make sure that we're competitive. So the next slide is opportunities. And so you're going to see some overlap here because some of our challenges are also opportunities. Baccalaureate degree program. The ability to offer a bachelor's degree provides an important opportunity for Saracosa to retain its existing students who would otherwise be required to transfer to a four-year college or university after earning their associate degree. And that's not an option for everybody. There are a number of our students, we're over 50% over 25 years old. And a lot of these people have children, they can't uproot their families to go seek a four-year degree. So that's an opportunity to both continue to educate within our communities. The college is working to strengthen its partnerships with local defense and aerospace employers, so the military and employer partnerships. As you heard, we're placing a lot of emphasis on that, and we've done a great job. We've met with all of the major the bases. We have China Lake, and we also have Edwards. And we have Mojave Air and Spaceport, not necessarily military, but heavy in the industry of aerospace. And so we are working with all those partners on exploratory work groups, and all these kind of activities have taken place so that we can offer the programs to help build the workforce necessary to support those organizations. There's a proposed large inland port. That would be the largest in California, and that would be in Mojave, so that's an opportunity that we're looking at. That could be over 3,000 new jobs in the area, and everything that comes with having that many people now residing in the area, working there, and so all the supporting businesses that would come with that growth. There's still a substantial unmet need for education in the remaining 3 yards at CCI in Tehachapi, so that challenge that we're facing is also an opportunity to expand. We already have portable classrooms being transported over to CCI that will be installed in the remaining 3 yards, the A, B, and C yards, and we could actually recoup what we lost as far as the number of students being served by expanding the classroom spaces at the remaining yards at that institution. So that will further help us increase our enrollment growth. And also Saracosa's depth of experience in the online arena, as I mentioned, and offering a breadth of offerings could attract students who found it a challenge to attend on campus and are now more comfortable in an online. So that competition that's been out there, more and more people are becoming at ease with online education, and so we need to make sure we're highlighting our experience in that market and how they can be successful going to Saracosa. So through all of those analyses and all that work that we did, market studies, we looked at existing programs as well, how we can maximize our existing programs. We also identified some potential new degrees and certificates, and I listed them here on this slide. There's aviation, communications, data, artificial intelligence, which is a huge buzzword right now, AI, healthcare, cannabis studies, and new bachelor's programs. These are all things that we will continue to be exploring as they did rise to the top with regard to all those different metrics I mentioned. In addition to future programming and other key initiatives around access, instruction, and student services and outcomes are also being explored. And then the next step following this, the educational master plan, will be its companion, the facilities master plan, which we'll be presenting next spring. And through that plan, we anticipate finding a permanent home for our Tehachapi campus, and so that'll be a focus of that, along with potential opportunities should they present themselves for student housing if funding becomes available. So that concludes my report. If there's any questions.
Any questions from members of the board? Thank you.
President Agbalog, trustees, Chancellor Burke, thank you for the opportunity to summarize in a brief report the work on the educational master plan that is going to give us a lot of information and provide a roadmap for the next 5 years for the college. As you saw, the report is probably the longest out of the 3 colleges, but this master plan really represents efforts by a group of dedicated faculty, staff, administrators, students, and many community members who came together to shape this master plan and provided a lot of input. In the slides and my presentation, I'm going to focus on process mostly because all the details are in the report. But I just want to make sure that we all acknowledge that there were hundreds of voices represented in this report, and it's very special. So I want to thank the Educational Master Plan Task Force and also acknowledge the technical support by the Collaborative Brain Trust that helped us in the process. This process took 8 months. It was intense, multiple meetings led by Vice President Thad Russell, and it was a project divided in 3 phases. Phase 1 was the discovery phase, in which we collected, analyzed, and synthesized a lot of the data. And it was both internal and external, as I had mentioned, and a lot of people related to the community, the region, and workforce were included and participated. There were a lot of listening sessions in small groups of students, special groups, faculty, staff, external, and all that information, and in addition, other information regarding the Vision 2030 and our own mission and goals were included and examined. That led to phase 2, which was the portfolio development and planning assumptions. So based on all that data that was compiled, the work group identified about 10 themes that just bubble up. And with the integrated planning assumptions, they collected and developed that 5-year plan. So the contents of that portfolio are in the report. That's probably the longest part of the report, all that data, you can see it. And that led us to phase 3, and that was to set up the goals and objectives to support this Ed Master Plan and support in alignment with the KCCD strategic plan. Details are also in the appendix for that phase 3. So those themes that emerge from the internal and external listening sections are outlined, actually page 79 of the report. A lot of rich information, a lot of good discussions that help us identify our priorities for the next few years. There are many programmatic recommendations, not as specific as my colleague from Syracuse was able to present. I was pleasantly surprised of the robust conversations and surprised also, especially with the community, talking a lot about short-term certificates, just skill preparation, retooling of programs. So the task force and the community members who participated talked a lot about our existing programs and offer suggestions for new programs as well. It's a long list, it's included in the report. So, but it's interesting, they suggested new programs that are non-credit, programs that help qualified people for entry-level jobs with local employers. So again, I was surprised at the level of knowledge of the community. With this information, the task force also identified challenges and opportunities, and there's a long list, but that helped us shape the long-term plans for the EMP. I just want to clarify, because you're going to see it in the report, we also based the information on the vision, now I forget which one. Not the Vision 2030, because it was not yet launched by the time that we created the report. So with all this information, the task force identified high priority goals and institution-wide objectives. So in the slide, you have the titles, the report contains the details. But this was the result of a very thorough review of that quantitative and qualitative data. So again, we had a session over the summer. I'm grateful for the task force that got together a couple times in the summer to shape those goals. In those goals, you see representation or support for the different aspects of our operation, including instructional, student services, and administrative services. They also provide a framework for the long-term strategic plan. As my colleague from Siracusa mentioned, this will also inform our facilities master plan that will follow shortly. So we are set with our goals, make sure that they are aligned with this direction of the district. And I think we're just excited, ready, and in my report later on, I will also share how we are taking action already in making these objectives a reality. And I open for questions.
I'll open the floor to any trustees with questions or comments. There are none. Thank you, President. Okay, we'll move on to number 7, preliminary items. Letter A, this is the presentation of awards to Porterville College emeritus recipients. Chancellor Burke.
Thank you. First, a little background. The word emeritus has Latin roots, meaning to have earned merit and distinction through service. It is a title reserved for select employees as a mark of distinguished service upon or after their retirement, and conferred exclusively by the Board of Trustees. In recognition of years of distinguished service and contributions to the Kern Community College District, Bakersfield College, Porterville College, and Siracusa Community College, the Board of Trustees has bestowed the title of emeritus on a group of outstanding former faculty and administrators earlier today. To the employee we are recognizing today, your dedication and body of work has provided enormous educational opportunities to our community and the students. For this, the district is forever grateful. Thank you. In observance of granting the title of emeritus, you will receive a specially designed medal. Professor Miles Vega, please come forward while the president of the college makes a few remarks recognizing your accomplishments. After that, usually the president of the board would bestow the medal, signifying that the Board of Trustees of the Kern Community College District has recognized you with the title emeritus. However, President Agbalog has asked Trustee Corkins, the trustee of the Porterville College Service Area, to do the honor on his behalf. President Abbe.
Thank you. It is a great honor to acknowledge and present the Porterville College faculty being awarded emeriti status this year, Mr. Miles Vega. He was nominated by his peers and recommended by the Academic Senate, who also shared some of the details of his career, and I have the pleasure of relating that to you. Miles Vega is the kind of educator we all aspire to be. Deeply involved with the college, committed to student success, knowledgeable, and fun. He wore many hats during his tenure at Porterville College. Miles taught classes in college success, psychology, drug and alcohol counseling, and visited countless classrooms speaking on topics of mental health and life management. In 2012, Miles won the Most Enthusiastic Teacher Award by ASPC. He engaged with students as the director of the PC transfer, helping them to navigate their way to the world beyond PC. Miles served as a counselor and as a division chair for student services. In counseling, he was always an advocate for students and worked tirelessly to ensure students' needs were met. He worked as the college articulation officer and was chair of the curriculum committee, roles that allowed him to support student success and help faculty build their programs. From 2019 to 2021, Miles was Academic Senate President, guiding Porterville College through the beginnings of the COVID-19 pandemic. Miles, during that time, also published 2 articles for the California Community College Academic Senate, one on effective and equitable transfer practices, and another one on the role of counseling faculty and delivery of counseling services. Miles was also involved in athletics, working as a student-athlete counselor, but he also served as athletic director for the men's and women's soccer teams. He was a soccer coach, and he led them to the playoffs, the first time ever for PC in soccer. And in 2000, he won the Central Valley Conference's Men's Soccer Coach of the Year award. At a personal level, I have to add that I was very touched by his kindness and thoughtfulness. I will never forget, because this was very meaningful to me, when he attended the board meeting on June of 2019 in Bakersfield when I was appointed president at PC. He and Jeff Keel drove to Bakersfield and made it a point on being there and being the first ones to welcome me to the district and the college. He also makes sure that on opening day, our first opening day, there was a giant coconut cake, my favorite, for everybody to share. Thank you, Miles, for that. Miles Vega's time at Porterville College was marked by advocacy, professionalism, and a focus on our students. How many students at PC were guided by Miles? How many graduated thanks to his efforts? His contributions have no doubt made the lives of our students and faculty much better. He made the college better, and we owe Miles a debt of gratitude that can never be repaid. Today, we congratulate Miles Vega, and truly, he deserves this emeritus status. Thank you, Miles, for your many years of service at PC.
How about one with a chancellor?
Congratulations again to Miles Vega. Brings us to the next item, letter B, approval of consent items, business services, other than construction, agenda items 10A through 10E. Business services, construction items 12A through 12BB. Educational services, agenda items 14A through 13D. And human resources, agenda items 17A through 17B. This time I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like,
We have a motion to approve by trustee Corkins. Do we have a second?
President Agbalag, before we go through the motion, do I need to recuse myself from this item?
Very well. Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Jimenez. Okay. All in favor of this item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention?
I'll abstain.
Thank you. The motion carries. We'll move on to letter C, approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of August 8th, 2023.
Move approval.
We have a motion to approve by trustee Corkins. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Gomez Heitzberg. Any questions or discussion on the item? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Next item is letter D, correspondence to the Board of Trustees and/or communications. Chancellor Berg.
Thank you. We have had several correspondence to the Board of Trustees received since the last board meeting. We have received correspondence from Carlissa Thomas relating to a Bakersfield College student, and from Charles Shin, Dennis Jones, Barbara Jones, Fred Enhert, David Richardson, Lily Enhert, James Gaines, Jackie Gaines, Dennis McLean, Harlan O'Day, David Prince, and multiple anonymous individuals, all relating to existing litigation.
Okay, thank you, Chancellor Berg. The next item is the public hearing on the proposed 2023-24 budget. This time I'd like to open up the public hearing on this item. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the board at this time regarding this particular item? Okay, if there are none, go ahead and close the public hearing on this item and move on to business services approval. Letter A, adoption of the Kern Community College District budget for 2023-24 as recommended in the business services report. Vice Chancellor Jack Lemay.
Good afternoon, trustees, Chancellor. First, I'd like to start with that the state of the district from a fiscal perspective is extremely healthy. And we've got a long presentation here, but not very dissimilar to the one that we presented during the tentative budget. So I'm going to move kind of quickly so to only focus on the things that have changed so that you're up to date with the current state of how the budget was put together and the factors in which we made our assumptions. So on page 2, you've got the state general fund revenues. As you see again, there's still a small decline. This is no change really from the tentative budget, other than actually the change is a little bit smaller than it was. On page 3, this is the Kern Community College general fund revenues. That you can see in light of the decrease at the state level, the district is still getting its significant increasing share of the pie in the community college system, as well as the community college system getting a larger share than it did in the prior year as well. Continuing on, page 4 has been no changes. Page 5, the change is really on the second bullet point there, where the COLA was moved to 8.22%. Unfortunately, but due to some adjustments that they do on the Department of Finance side, it really affects to about a 7.9% increase. However, keeping in mind that only about 5% of that is being funded with ongoing funds, the remainder of that is being funded via other sources. There still is a 0.5% growth available to the districts. However, each district is assigned a different target. But that being said, our target is a little bit lower than that. However, majority of the districts will not be hitting any revenue targets, and the rest of that money is available to those that overachieve their targets. We do believe that Kern CCD is well positioned to capture more than the 0.5% in the upcoming year, as we also believe that we captured more than the 0.5% that was in this prior year as well, that we'll see in the R1, which comes out in February. Page 6, no changes. Page 7, really the only significant change here is an apprenticeship, that they were assigned COLA, but then they added a reduction in the way that they were doing it, so it ended up being a negative 7.1%. The reduction was primarily a different change in the way that the accounting methodology for apprenticeship and how it's going into, most of it's going into apportionment now and not necessarily its own separate funding sources. Page 8. This is where some of the significant legislative changes have happened. So in May, there was a reduction of the $650 million in one-time grants down to $345 million, so it decreased down to $305 million. But the adopted budget at the state level left it whole. So this community college system will receive the full $650 million here. On the other one-time items, the biggest ticket item in that happened to be the $150 million in one-time funds for student retention and recruitment activities. The 2003 Budget Act took some of that away, but then it ended up not taking nearly as much away when it came to the adopted budget. And then appropriated an additional $50 million this year. Now, the one thing that they have done for both of these grants is they've added an extreme amount of flexibility in using the funds interchangeably between these two sources, as well as the source on the next page, which is the deferred maintenance or our scheduled maintenance program. So as you move to page 9, there was a lot of money moved around in the deferred maintenance from one year to another. $840 million in our 22-23, which is our prior year that just finished. They took back $500 million of that money, or 59% of that money, after the year was already over. Now, fortunately, a lot of that money hadn't been spent yet, but that being said, plans were being made and the prioritizations weren't necessarily taking consideration losing 59% of the funding. And then they followed it up with $5.9 million, and that $5.9 million is for the entire state. So that's maybe a couple $100,000 at most for the district for this upcoming year. This bucket of money can be also utilized interchangeably with the other two buckets that we just talked about, the employee or the student retention and also the COVID-19. I think the college's current plans is to utilize some of the COVID-19 money to supplement some of the scheduled maintenance projects that were planned to be done before the state took 59% of the monies back. Page 10. So the last time we met, it was in very good news when it came to student housing. The state, from a legislative perspective, had put the burden of the generating the funds to build the student housing on the districts via revenue bond, which was going to be very challenging for most districts, especially in light of the fact that it's supposed to be low-income housing and not really have a enormous revenue stream to fund a debt service obligation. We've got word now that that through many state channels and the Department of Finance that there is language in place that needs to be voted on still, but that is looking extremely promising, that will have the funding being done at the state level through a revenue bond service at their level, meaning that the district will not have to go and solicit its own funds to do the construction. So this is incredible news for us to continue moving forward with the project, and hoping that the legislative action here takes place relatively quickly. Page 11, there's no update here. Still increases in CalPERS. CalSTRS is staying flat for the first time in several years. Okay, page 12 is essentially a very top level view of our adopted budget, one year versus the next, and also we have the projected 22-23 financial results. And then as we continue to move forward, page 13 is the changes in the beginning and ending balances, or a net change in our unrestricted reserve analysis for the 3 colleges in the district-wide. Has come down some, primarily due to a few factors. We've been asked to work with Porterville College to reduce their reserve levels because it was getting too high to utilize it for some good projects, one-time projects. That is being done. Bakersfield College has a significant one-time project as well. And then the district-wide number is going down primarily due to some stabilization happening on the allocation side, which just has to do primarily to some timing in the funding formula for 2 of our colleges. So we don't see that as being a long-term issue going forward as far as a tap on the district-wide reserves. Getting into some of our more specific analysis and compliance tests. Not a compliance test, but we're looking at an overall of $111 million in fund balance or reserves. That equates to 44.8% of our general budget. District-wide being 47.9, and the colleges holding $63 million in reserves. On page 15, we move to some of the compliance tests. So we have a goal of being at 80% or less of general unrestricted funds being of salary and benefits. We are currently just under 73%, so we continue to do very well in that arena. Additionally, we have a goal of 20% on the district-wide reserve or district office type reserves. And so this is excluding the college reserves. Unfortunately, we're falling a tiny bit short at 19.4%, which is equivalent to about $1.5 million short. Primarily, the reason we fell short of that was the $3.5 million that was utilized in the stabilization, which again should be just a one-time and should be recovered once we get the additional monies with the R1 in February. Additional compliance tests. All the talk of the state of California community college system is the 50% law. We continue to be in compliance with that. However, we don't have an enormous margin for error at 50.4%, although this is better than the 50.1% that we presented at last year's budget. The faculty obligation number, we continue to meet our faculty obligation number. In fact, the new faculty obligation for this upcoming year is, I believe, 20 lower than our obligation this year. So we should not have any challenges with meeting that minimum requirement. And then again, threats. So again, the majority of our money comes through the state. We have a significant sum that comes through property taxes. Those are our 2 biggest drivers for funds. So if there is continued rise in inflation, it does create some form of a recession. That will have an impact on our ability to receive apportionment. Additionally, if we have a crash in the housing market and property taxes follow along with it, that could have an impact as well. I believe we've had some incredible growth over the last decade plus in both of those arenas, and that's benefited the district quite handsomely when it comes to our revenues. That being said, that's why we have healthy reserves, and with $111 million in healthy reserves, we should be able to sit through any downturn and act accordingly and not have to make any rash or very dynamic, quick decisions to right any ships. So that is my presentation for today. Do I have any questions from the board?
We'll open up the floor to members of the board. Any comments or questions? Okay, if not, thank you.
Thank you
for your presentation. This time I'll entertain a motion.
I move adoption of the 2023-2024 budget as proposed.
Second.
We have a motion by trustee Corkin, seconded by trustee Scrivener. Any further discussion on the item? There is none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. That brings us to letter B, adoption of a resolution authorizing the donation of surplus personal property pursuant to Education Code 81450.5.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by trustee Corkin, seconded by trustee Scrivener. Any discussion on the item? There is none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Next is letter C, authorization for the chief financial officer to enter into a retail services agreement between the Kern Community College District and BSN Sports to supply Nike apparel, uniforms, footwear, and accessories, along with other equipment. The term is from July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2028, and the cost of the district is not to exceed $625,000 to be paid from the GU001 unrestricted fund.
Move approval.
We have a motion to approve by trustee Corkins, seconded by trustee Jimenez. Any discussion on the item? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Next item is letter D, authorization for the chief financial officer to enter into a service provider agreement between the Kern Community College District on behalf of Bakersfield College, Saracoso Community College, and Porterville College, and Shirley Ware Educational Center for work on health careers expansion. The term is from July 1st, 2023 through July 1st, 2025. The amount payable to the district is $305,400 to be deposited into a restricted program fund to be determined.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by trustee Gomez Heitzberg and seconded by trustee Corkins. Any questions or discussion on this item? There are none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Next item is letter E, authorization for the chief financial officer to execute an agreement between the Kern Community College District on behalf of Bakersfield College and Bakersfield Building Maintenance Company for custodial services performed at various campuses. The term is from July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. The cost to the district is not to exceed $800,000 to be paid from the GU001 General Unrestricted Fund.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by trustee Jimenez. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Scribner. Any questions or discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. That brings us to number 11, business services approval for construction items. Letter A, authorization for the chief financial officer to enter into a construction agreement between the Kern Community College District on behalf of Saracoso Community College and Benyon Sports Surfaces, Inc. for the Saracoso Community College Ridgecrest Track and Tennis Court Resurfacing Project. The term is from September 15th, 2023 through May 31st, 2024. The cost of the district is not to exceed $547,600 to be paid from the CC 102 Local Capital Outlay Fund. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by trustee Jimenez, seconded by trustee Gomez Heitzberg. Any questions or discussion on the item? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Next item is number 13, educational services approval, letter A, approval of items 11C and 11D, the 2023-28 educational master plans for Saracoso Community College and Porterville College.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by trustee Corkins, seconded by trustee Scribner. Any questions or discussion on the items? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Next item is letter E, approval of items 11F through 11G, authorizing out-of-state travel for Bakersfield College students.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by trustee Corkins. I think we have a tie for a second between Scribner and Jimenez. I'll let Jennifer sort that one out. Are there any questions or discussion on this item? Okay. I think all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Go ahead and go through these steps. All right. Moving on to letter H, authorization for the chief financial officer to enter into an agreement between the Kern Community College District on behalf of Porterville College and Education Strategy Group to advance equity for adult learners of color in reach identified non-credit and credit program enrollment, progress, and completion. The term is from May 17th, 2023 through October 31st, 2024, and the cost of the district is not to exceed $30,000 plus travel costs to be paid from an RP restricted program to be determined.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by trustee Corkins, seconded by trustee Jimenez. Any discussion or questions on the item? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Next is letter I, authorization for the Chief Financial Officer to enter into an amendment number 1 to an agreement between the Kern Community College District on behalf of Bakersfield College and University Enterprises, Inc. for the Early Educators Investment Collaborative. The term is from January 20th, 2021 through June 30th, 2024. The amount payable to the district is $125,000 to be deposited into RP 707 Restricted Program Fund.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by Trustee Gomez Heitzberg. Is there a second? Seconded by Trustee Scribner. Any questions or discussion on the item? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Next is 15A, Workforce and Economic Development Approval, authorization for the Chief Financial Officer to execute a grant agreement between the Kern Community College District on behalf of Porterville College and the California Community College Chancellor's Office, Workforce and Economic Development Division for the enrollment and retention of for Associate Degree Nursing RN program. The term is from July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2025. The amount payable to the district is $90,330 to be deposited into RP 119 Restricted Program Fund.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by Trustee Gomez Heitzberg. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Jimenez. Any questions or discussion on the item? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Next is authorization for the Chief Financial Officer to accept a grant between the Kern Community College District on behalf of Bakersfield College and the California Community College's Chancellor's Office on behalf of the California Community College's Board of Governors to create the Staff Services Analyst Apprenticeship Program. Terms of the agreement are from July 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2026. The amount payable to the district is $553,276 to be deposited into a restricted program fund to be determined. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Trustee Jimenez, seconded by Trustee Gomez Heitzberg. Any questions or discussion on the item? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Next is letter C, authorization for the Chief Financial Officer to accept a grant between the Kern Community College District on behalf of Bakersfield College and the California Community College's Chancellor's Office on behalf of the California Community College's Board of Governors to create the Registered Nurses Apprenticeship Program. Terms of the agreement are from July 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2026. The amount payable to the district is $1,124,790 to be deposited into a restricted program to be determined.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by Trustee Corkins. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Scribner. Any questions or discussion on this item? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is letter D, authorization for the Chief Financial Officer to accept a grant between the Kern Community College District on behalf of Bakersfield College and the California Community College's Chancellor's Office on behalf of the California Community College's Board of Governors to create the Industrial Machinery Mechanics for Maintenance Technician Apprenticeship Program. Terms of the agreement are from July 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2026. The amount payable to the district is $1,499,945 to be deposited into a restricted program fund to be determined.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by Trustee Corkins. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Jimenez. Any questions or discussion on the item? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Moving on to letter E, authorization for the Chief Financial Officer to accept a grant between the Kern Community College District on behalf of Bakersfield College and the California Community College's Chancellor's Office on behalf of the California Community College's Board of Governors to create the Public Health Informatics Technician Apprenticeship Program. Terms of this agreement are from July 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2024. The amount payable to the district is $119,547 to be deposited into a restricted program to be determined.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by trustee Gomez Heitzberg. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Jimenez. Any question or discussion on the item? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Brings us to letter F, authorization for the chief financial officer to accept a grant between the Kern Community College District on behalf of Bakersfield College and the California Community College's Chancellor's Office on behalf of the California Community College's Board of Governors to create the registered nurse, perinatal, and neonatal apprenticeship program. Terms of the agreement are from July 1st, 2023 and December 31st, 2024. The amount payable to the district is $108,368 to be deposited into a restricted program fund to be determined. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by trustee Jimenez. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Scrivener. Any questions or discussion on the item? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Next is letter G, authorization for the chief financial officer to execute a contract between the Kern Community College District and the State of California Employment Training Panel, which will reimburse the district for training provided to eligible employers. The term of the agreement is July 24th, 2023 through July 23rd, 2025. The amount payable to the district is up to $593,543 to be deposited into CE005 Employment Training Panel Fund.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by trustee Corkins. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Gomez Heitzberg. Any questions or discussion on the item? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Next is letter H, authorization for the chief financial officer to execute a contract between the Kern Community College District and the State of California Employment Training Panel, which will reimburse the district for training provided to eligible employers. The term of the agreement is July 24, 2023 through July 23, 2025. The amount payable to the district is up to $190,836 to be deposited into CE005 Employment Training Panel Fund.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by trustee Gomez Heitzberg, seconded by trustee Jimenez. Any questions or discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Moving on to letter I, authorization for the chief financial officer to execute a contract between the California Community College District and the State of California Employment Training Panel, which will reimburse the district for training provided to eligible employers. The term of the agreement is July 24th, 2023 through March 30th, 2027. The amount payable to the district is up to $749,000 to be deposited into the CE005 Employment Training Panel Fund.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by trustee Corkins. Do we have a second?
Second.
There's a tie for a second. We'll go to trustee Scrivener on this one. Any questions or discussion on the item? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Next up is letter J, authorization for the chief financial officer to enter into a purchase agreement between the Kern Community College District on behalf of Bakersfield College and Klein Educational Systems to purchase commercial mobile truck simulators with trailers, supporting a collaboration of Saracoso Truck Driving Training and Bakersfield College Industrial Park Partners. The cost to the district is $384,287.50 to be paid from the RP040 Restricted Program Fund. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by trustee Corkins. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Scrivener. Any discussion or questions? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. That brings us to letter L, authorization for the chief financial officer to enter into a contract between the Kern Community College District as the fiscal agent for the Central Valley Motherlode Regional Consortium and LinkedIn to provide a regional subscription to LinkedIn Learning partial campus solution for career education learning. The term is from July 26, 2023 through July 26, 2024, and the cost of the district is $191,000 to be paid from the RP 676 Restricted Program Fund. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by trustee Gomez Heitzberg. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Jimenez. Any questions or discussion on this item? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. We're at letter M, authorization for the chief financial officer to enter into a contract between the Kern Community College District as a fiscal agent for the Central Valley Motherlode Regional Consortium and Foundation for California Community Colleges launched apprenticeship network to develop a regional workforce intermediary program for regional apprenticeships across the 15 colleges. The term is from September 15th, 2023 through March 15th, 2026. And the cost of the district is $381,802 to be paid from the RP 676 Restricted Program Fund. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by trustee Jimenez. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Gomez Heitzberg. Any questions or discussion on this item? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. That brings us to item 16, Human Resources Approval, letter A, approval of the tentative agreement between the Kern Community College District and the California School Employees Association Chapters 246, 336, and 617 for July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024.
Move approval.
We have a motion to approve by trustee Corkins. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Scrivener. Any questions or discussion on the item? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Next up, letter B, adoption of the Kern Community College District and CCA 3-year successor collective bargaining agreement.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by trustee Corkins. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by trustee Jimenez. Any questions or discussion on the item? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. We are now at number 18, committee and ad hoc committee reports and report of foundation activities by trustee liaison. A, board accreditation committee report to the board. Trustee Gomez Heitzberg.
Yes. We met just this past week, and this is just a high-level review of the committee's work. We had a very comprehensive presentation on the self-study and the peer review process of accreditation. I do remember continuous quality improvement, so those will be the new words for this duration. We had presentations about the last accreditation and the accommodations for each college, and appreciated the insights provided by our vice presidents, talking about the current process of accreditation and also how the accommodations are living out at their colleges now. I think this was a very comprehensive overview. I believe my colleagues would agree with me of the purpose and the process of accreditation. It'll be our foundation as we move through this, our accreditation coming up, and I'm sure that we will learn as much as you will work.
Thank you, trustee Gomez Heitzberg. Any questions on the report? If there are none, we'll move on to B. This is the board student success with equity committee report to the board. Trustee Scrivener.
Yes, thank you, President Aguilar. I am going to read the report on behalf of our chair, Trustee Carter, who can't be in attendance today. We also met this week. It was a very busy week for the team at KCCD, so thank you for all the hard work with lots of these meetings on top of each other. The Student Success with Equity Committee met on Tuesday, September 12th, 2023. The meeting focused on basic needs and challenges that many Kern Community College District students face. After presentations from 3 colleges, trustees discussed how important it is to remove these obstacles to to equitable student success.
Thank you. Any questions on the report? If there are none, we'll move on to 19, reports. Letter A, facilities report links. Are there any questions from members of the board on any of the information that was presented in the links prior to the meeting? Okay, if not, we'll move on to B, faculty reports.
Hello. So I'm Erica Menchaca from Bakersfield College Academic Senate. The short report is in the agenda packet, just a couple highlights. So we had a flex workshop on strengthening participatory governance. So we had guests from Academic Senate of the California Community College and the Student Senate for Community College, California Community College, and they presented on different ways to share best practices and governance structures. And we also revived Committee of Co-Chairs to continue that work throughout the year. And we're really looking to help support and provide a space for collegial discussion as we go through the year. The BC Academic Senate, we've met twice so far, and it's really been great coming back in person. And so we're having our first in-person, fully in-person meetings, and you can feel the excitement and energy as we're getting back together. So that's a positive outlook. We've appointed faculty to over 20 committees, councils, task forces, and we're working to continue to fill some openings. And we have 3 new task forces coming up to address some legislation updates like AB 928, AB 1705, and distance education. Don't know if you have recollections because there's lots of numbers going around, but those are the ones that we're focusing on right now this year at BC. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Rebecca Baird, Porterville College Academic Senate President. On behalf of our PC faculty, I want to welcome you all to Porterville College once again. My report is also in the board documents. Porterville College held its first ever Welcome Day on Friday, August 18th. Approximately 350 new students visited Porterville College, where they met and interacted with faculty from their pathway, learned about campus resources, got student-led tours of the college, and enjoyed a free lunch. Faculty got to meet with our students, got to inform them about our programs and classes, and students got free goodies and a chance to interact with faculty in an informal setting before classes started. It was a really great way to bring everybody together for the start of fall semester, and we're looking forward to holding this again next fall. The latest post on the TAIL blog, that's our teaching and learning experiences at Kern CCD, published August 23rd, was from blog co-creator, anthropology professor, and academic senate past president Robert Simpkins, and titled A Dream of Disney, Holism, and Educational Creativity. Porterville College's Puente program is starting its second year and has doubled in size, growing from 11 students to 23 students. And in October, they will be attending a conference at UC Davis. Administration of Justice Professor Jeffrey Jacobs was appointed to the Tulare County Juvenile Justice Commission, which places him in constant contact with issues impacting juveniles throughout Tulare County. He was placed on an educational subcommittee, which is responsible for facilitating training for their membership. Jeff is also serving as faculty advisor for the student club Together We Can. This is a club that continues to partner with Rising Scholars, Project Rebound, Underground Scholars, and others to assist with local reentry efforts. And Jeff noted that people who are impacted by incarceration are among our nation's most underserved populations. Philosophy professor Matthew Flummer presented a paper on Augustine's cosmological argument for the existence of God at the Tyndale Fellowship Study Group Conference on Philosophy and Religion at Cambridge University on July 5th. And on July 21st, history professor Leslie Pilon presented a paper at the International Conference on Sermon Studies hosted by Christ Church College at Oxford University. Her paper was on women preachers of the Second Great Awakening and their use of sermons to justify their right to preach. Education professor Dennis LeClaire was our first Porterville College instructor to teach courses at South County Detention Center as part of our growing Rising Scholars program. Music adjunct Ben McKeno conducted a double bill of Maurice Ravel's L'Enfant et le Sortilège and Giacomo Giacomo Puccini's Gianni Schicchi at the Miami Beach Music Festival. This was his second summer at the festival, which is a training program for young singers, pianists, orchestra musicians, and conductors. And I guess I need to practice my French and Italian for this job. Ethnic Studies and Sociology adjunct Mario Alberto Espinosa Kulik co-authored 2 OER textbooks this past year, one Introduction to Ethnic Studies and New Directions in Chicanics and Latinx Studies. These are both free online for student and instructor use, and they're open license as well, so they can be adapted by different instructors and scholars. Our history adjunct Chris Blakely published a book, Empire of Brutality, Enslaved People and Animals in the British Atlantic World, with LSU Press, and he also received a short-term research grant from the College of William and Mary. We are very proud of the work that our PC faculty have been doing, and I look forward to continuing to share their work with you at future board meetings. Thank you.
Thank you.
Matthew Crow, KCCD CCA President, President Ag Block Board, Chancellor Burke. First of all, I'd like to thank you for approving the successor agreement. Now what we'll do is roll it out to informational presentations at the colleges. We've already begun scheduling those and have the presentations prepared, and we look for a ratification vote on the 18th and 19th electronically, and should have the results soon after that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, classified reports.
Hello, my name is Chris Glazer. I am the chapter president for Chapter 336 at Bakersfield College and the district office. Thank you, vice chancellors, college presidents, board members, President Agblog, and Chancellor Burke. It's an awesome day to be in Porterville today. I just want to send a very special thank you to Porterville College President Claudia Habib for hosting us. Thank you very much. I also want to thank the staff that made today possible. I know this can't happen without a behind-the-scenes staff, so please tell them that we say thank you for having us here today. The summer was great. I was not able to come to the last board meeting, so I just want to give a small recap of what happened with CSEA over the summer. We were able to, our CSEA leadership were able to go to the CSEA conference in July. We participated in the annual governance business of CSEA itself, and we attended several education workshops. One of our key takeaways in these workshops was never start or end a day without gratitude. So today, I'm grateful to be here, and I'm grateful for all of you and the incredible work that you all do. Negotiations have wrapped up with CSEA and the board on our reopeners. Thank you to the board for approving our TA that we just worked through. I also want to send a very special thank you to our negotiating team. This was the first time that the majority of these folks sat at a negotiations table. So I want to just acknowledge them very quick. Abe Ali, Gina Duran, Savannah Andrews, Cody Poxtis, I really hope I got your name correct, Maria Battisti, Ian Mason, Zach Wharton, TJ Mason, Chris Skours, Jamie McClure, Alex Caudillo, and Vern Butler. The work that they put into this was incredible, and we're looking forward to our contract negotiations that are going to happen very shortly. We produced a TA I think that we're all very proud of, and we're looking forward to full ratification next week of that TA. We just started our semester. It's about 4 weeks in for Bakersfield College, and so much has happened. We had a really incredible opening day at Bakersfield College. I want to again send a thank you to President Steve Watkin for the energy and just being really intentional about having us start with really warm, welcome feelings at Bakersfield College. There was truly a sense of family there, so I just want to say I appreciate that. We had a visit to Sacramento a little bit ago to the California Museum so that we can celebrate the California Community College's Chancellor, Sonia Christian, which was it was a very nice day, and it was really nice to celebrate her work. She highlighted Vision 3030, and I just want to point that out here because this is very near and dear to me and to CSEA. The 3 goals are equity in access, equity in support, and equity in success. So I just want us to have that in our mind, at least it's in CSEA's mind for sure, as we start on this academic year. I also want to point out that we had the celebration for the Jack Hernandez Fernisis Award very recently, and we honored Michael Carley, and he gave us a talk on humility. And so I kind of want to close out with this a bit. He was highlighted because of his incredible work in institutional research. His talk reminded us that whenever we need to move the dial on any goal, personal or otherwise, it takes a certain level of keeping yourself in check to make that happen. I was really inspired to hear him because his journey as a first-generation student, which he talked about a lot, was something that many of us know a lot about. Michael was also, he talked about like the power of humility, and Michael, I think, is the living proof of that. He was like the best example, and honestly, he was the best person to choose for that particular award. I also want to mention that I'm participating in the KCCD Leadership Academy this year, along with several of my other KCCD trailblazers. And I want to tie this to Michael because Michael's talk on humility really dovetailed nicely with some advice that Chancellor Burke gave us at our first Leadership Academy meeting. And I'm going to leave you with this. He said, some of the best leaders know how to leave their ego at the door. If you don't park your ego, people shut down and any potential gems get locked away. Thank you all. I'm going to leave you with that, and I'm looking forward to a really great academic year.
Thank you. Management Association reports.
Chad Hauk, I'm the Vice President of the Management Association. Bonita could not make it today. President Agblog, trustees, Chancellor Burke. I only have a couple things to share that the Management Association's been working on recently. A couple things that maybe aren't as well known. You may know that all of our managers from vice presidents on down are part of the Management Association, but I find that every time I have conversations about it, people don't realize they're in the Management Association. We do have 2 tiers in the Management Association. There are everybody that's automatically in there that we try and represent and advocate for and provide professional development for, and also a paid tier. And that's how we fund the 3 main things that we do for professional development. There's lunch and learns that Bonita shared before. We've talked about the symposium a whole bunch. But we offer a scholarship program, and that's what we've been working on most recently over this last month, is refining how we go about awarding those scholarships to managers when they apply to be able to pursue professional development. For example, this last year we had someone apply to do the mentorship program through ACA, and that has really benefited her greatly, and the Management Association was proud to be able to support that through our scholarship program. So there's that going on, and then we have our Manager of the Month that we like to try and recognize for you all at every board meeting. This month, it's Jasmine Quinones, who I believe is here in the background, in the back row back there. She's serving as the Porterville College Student Life and Leadership Program Manager, and she's been doing that since June of 2021. The Porterville College colleagues nominated her as the Kern CCD Management Association Manager of the Month in recognition of her leadership in supporting students' growth as individuals and leaders in the post-COVID return to campus. Some of the things that I want to highlight here that she has done. She worked hard to re-engage the Porterville College students with exciting campus activities, expanding the number of student clubs from 5 to 15 in the course of 1 year, and rebuilt the Associated Students of Porterville College here after coming back from COVID. She also implemented safe space trainings to bring awareness to the need of helping everyone feel welcome on campus. She led efforts to expand the First Generation Student Day to a full week of workshops and engaging activities. She's played a key role in establishing an annual Cesar Chavez celebration, resource fair, and speaker series. And then I enjoyed this today as we came in. There were students greeting us and offering to help guide us to different places. And that's part of the Ambassador Program, which was one of the things that she helped develop here. Please join me in recognizing Jasmine Quinones today. And that concludes our report. Thank you.
Thank you. That brings us to college reports.
President Agblog, trustees, Chancellor Burke, again, on behalf of the rest of the administration, the faculty, and classified professionals, I want to welcome you to your Porterville College campus. And we also welcome all the members of the district, Bakersfield College, and Cerro Coso who took the drive on 65, and many of them arrived early to take tours on campus, so that's great. I think you noticed that we are all excited about your visit and the opportunity to host you today. And yesterday, a lot of the members of the IT team, MNO, along with Roger Perez, Maribel Hernandez, and Jennifer Surratt, worked as a team on logistics, transforming this theater into a boardroom. So thank you all. I would also like to make note that some of the members of our staff, faculty, and even students are in attendance today. I know the students are shyly sitting in the back. I think they take the opportunity to see these proceedings in person at this time. I will keep my remarks brief, especially after Rebecca Baer's extensive, beautiful report about the talents of the faculty. I'd like to just add that we have been very busy and we had a very successful start of the semester. And our return to campus has been a success. And I have two indicators to share with that confirm that. One, and I will call it my qualitative indicator, is the level of enthusiasm and great energy on campus, especially palpable during the successful Welcome Day event that Rebecca described. I think faculty and staff are starting to see the fruits of the hard work during the last few years. Transformation work takes time. And the work around guided pathways, AB 705, the expansion of support services in the last 4 or 5 years are starting to bear fruit. Which leads me to the second indicator, and I will call it the quantitative indicator, enrollment recovery. The student headcount for fall of 2023 of over 4,800 students surpasses all previous fall headcount enrollments at PC. So we're very proud of that. I think the FTS are also in a steady increase, and our SCFF strategies and tactics are paying off. Today we talk about the educational master plan, and I would like to share that we're moving forward responding to the feedback and acting on some of the supporting goals set in the EMP. So I'll just share briefly a couple. As you see in the PC update, we launched a professional development experience for classified professionals with the Kern Campus Initiative. That is provided by the support of the Institute for Evidence-Based for Change and funding from the State Chancellor's Office. This is part of that professional development framework in one of the goals. Also, the State of the College breakfast, our first one, to which you are all invited next week, is also an effort to foster community relations and increase our communication with our partners with whom we collaborate. So again, this is another effort to enhance our workforce and economic development opportunities throughout these partnerships. So this concludes my report, unless you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, President Akbalog, Board of Trustees, and Chancellor Burke. It has been a busy and exciting time at Bakersfield College with events and student activities. This fall, Bakersfield College marked a milestone of being in service to the community for 100 years, 150 years, and the first week of fall was truly inspirational. I reflected upon how BC started in 1913 and imagined that our founding fathers couldn't have never imagined where we are today. I was honored to see many of you in attendance at various celebrations. I'd like to talk about past events and some recognitions. We welcome BC's incoming students with their families at our new student convocation on August 15th with Trustee Nan Gomez-Heisberg in attendance. Thank you. And we know how important it is to kick things off with the right amount of energy. So we kicked off with our faculty and staff at opening day on August 17th with Trustee Nan Gomez-Heisberg and a video welcome from Chancellor Burke. Thank you. Over 550 faculty and staff were in attendance. Exciting time. The following week was all about spaces intentionally designed for students. We celebrated the opening of the BC Nexus and Basic Needs Center with trustees Dan Gomez-Heisberg and Yvonne Jimenez. And the ribbon cutting of BC's Veterans Plaza with trustees Romeo Agbalog, Kay Meek, Christina Scribner, Nan Gomez-Heisberg, and Yvonne Jimenez. It was especially a treat to have former trustee and Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, on campus, who brought a Veterans Plaza United States flag all the way from the nation's capital. Fast forward to last week, where BC Foundation board member Rick Kreiser was recognized with the 2023 John Brock Community Service Award. Thank you, Chancellor Burke, for attending. And at our home football game last weekend, I want to say thank you all for attending. Chancellor Burke, Trustee Nan Gomez-Heisberg, and Yvonne Jimenez, as we cheered on the winning Renegades. Thank you so much. Just want to touch on enrollment. BC has reached a record high as of full-time census date. FTES increased 9% over last year. Total student headcount reached 24,943 as of census date. We welcomed 7,791 new students, which represents 31% of our student body. First-time students increased 17% from last year. Adult learners aged 30 or older is also growing faster than in previous years. The FTES numbers for this group increased by 30% from a year ago. Dual enrollment numbers are stable. Nearly 1 in 5 BC students, 19%, are early college students. And lastly, nearly 85% of our classes are full. Upcoming events, there's so much on the horizon and for you to still mark on your calendar. On Tuesday, I would like to welcome you on September 19th at 10:30. We will have our ribbon cutting for the brand new Learning Resource Center in Delano. In closing, energy feels like it's at an all-time high at the home of the Renegades, and we are on track to make this year the best year yet in our 150-year history. Thank you all, and that concludes my report.
Thank you.
President Agbalog, trustees, Chancellor Burke. I have one highlight and then one addition to the report that I submitted as part of the board documents. First of all, our semester's off to a great start, but I can't help but chuckle a little bit because it doesn't matter what you throw at Saracoso, we're going to figure it out. So we've had to watch for wildfires, we've had an earthquake, and a pandemic, and now a hurricane. So we had to go remote at a couple of our campuses on our very first day of the semester, which is just crazy. But you know what? We're doing a wonderful job. We're up this year in all the metrics that you just heard from my colleagues. So this is truly a great year. There's an energy on the campuses as we've expanded our face-to-face student enrollment. As you are likely aware, we're predominantly online. However, our biggest increases have been face-to-face this semester. So it's created this student life, this dynamic, this excitement on campus for all of us. And so looking forward to a great year as we celebrate our 50th anniversary this year. The addition that I wanted to add was on September 7th, the Saracoso Community College Foundation hosted a wine walk. And Trustee Scribner, I love how she coined this as a friend raiser. We brought up everyone from the community, including the mayor of Ridgecrest, who presented us with a proclamation recognizing our 50th anniversary by the city. So that was a wonderful event. We got everyone reacquainted with the college all the way up the hill, and looking forward to re-engaging with all of them. Many hadn't been on campus for 15 or 20 years, but it was very well attended, and art department and the allied health department all got involved and helped welcome all of our guests as well and show them some of the great things that are happening on our campus. So that concludes my report.
Thank you. That brings us to Chancellor's report. Chancellor Burke.
Thank you. First, start off by thanking our hosts today, President Habib, Porterville College faculty, staff, and administrators. Thank you for hosting our meeting today. Campus looks great. The college looks great. Doing some really good stuff here at Porterville College. Congratulations to you all. And also, many of you knew I was gone for a few weeks. I was doing a quick trip through Ireland, Greece, and Turkey. And so I would just recommend to all of you, put that on your bucket list. Those are wonderful places to visit. And lots of history, lots of history. Thank you, President Watkins, for the hosting the Jack Hernandez Hronesis Award. This is a district-wide reward. This year's honorees were Dr. Sonia Christian. She received a Legacy Award. And then also honored was Porterville College's Dr. Michael Carley, who, as part of the award, he had to give a lecture as discussed earlier, and it was a wonderful lecture. I also had the pleasure of attending the Bakersfield College New Employee Dinner. It was then followed up by an extremely exciting Renegade football game. The Renegades pulled it out, and but it was a great game. So this is the season for kickoffs, and I last week helped kick off two important initiatives for the district. One is kicking off the Leadership Academy. The Chancellor is traditionally the opening act for the Leadership Academy, so I enjoyed that. I've always enjoyed participating in the Leadership Academy, whether as Chancellor or as a CFO for the district. I also helped kick off the accessibility pilot project that we are doing with the state. I'm excited about that project and the results that may come from that. Finally, I'll congratulate Jasmine Quianos for being Manager of the Month. Congratulations. With that, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Chancellor Burke. We'll move on to Board of Trustees reports and inquiries, and I'll begin to my left with our student trustee, Johanna Guzman.
Thank you, President Akbalog. And also thank you to President Abad for the invitation to lunch today, and Porterville College for hosting everything. It was wonderful, very delightful. I want to say that the last couple of weeks have been very intense. A lot of work from our student to provide that welcoming for everyone, joining our campus for the first time, or just reintegrating, coming back for a second term or whatever it is. We've definitely identified with all the activities happening on campus that, our students really love karaoke, for one. They love gaming, so those are possibly two of the most successful events that we've had. During our welcome weeks also, we hosted a town hall. And as successful as the other events were, the town hall wasn't. And that's something that really kind of concerned us as student government. We're definitely identifying and trying to figure out which way we can connect better with them. And I think our main goal this session is to identify and pinpoint to specific departments, meaning that we identify the exact students, you know what I mean? So we're all kind of branching off, doing like teamwork between the senators and some of the directors on the team to really kind of hit those different departments, and take those either surveys or inquiries to them and meet them at their level to see if we get some greater success or connection. That way I always have something to come back, for here and make this also a successful one, connection. With the other college campuses, I haven't yet connected as much with Porterville, but we were definitely on the works. And then for Saracoso, me and Fatima have created a really, really good relationship. She actually will call me like at least every 2 or 3 weeks. And she just kind of, questions little things that she's got on her mind. And I think one of the main projects out there is getting students to pay more of the ASB card services, like the fees and all that stuff. So I gave her a little, a couple tips as to what we do at BC and how, they can further expand that to get those more student engagement on that end. But that's pretty much it for my reports. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Jimenez.
Thank you, Dr. Habib and Porterville College for hosting this meeting. I took a small walk around the campus, and the campus looks really welcoming, and it's just beautiful. So, thank you. And I also want to say thank you to everyone that worked in the education master plan. It took me a few hours to read it, so I can imagine how long it took you guys to write it. So thank you to each member, and also each member who was involved in developing our budget. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Trustee Gomez-Heitzberg.
Yes, let me add my appreciation for today's event. I know that many hands were working behind the scenes and getting everything ready, just as so many of you worked on the materials that we read every month. I think you've already achieved Kern Campus, but I know that is a very specific professional development plan for all of our classified professionals, and it's a wonderful way to ensure that no matter who a student comes in contact with, they understand what student success is about. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. To Jasmine and to Miles, you know, kind of like the alpha and omega of careers, starting out and seeing how much progress you've made just in a very short period of time, Jasmine, really kind of is an indicator that you're going to have a long and successful career. And to Miles, who I knew in the 90s, I think, what a wonderful way to retire, knowing that you've given so much over the years and had so many different roles. So I appreciate that. Two areas that I just want to touch because they're of importance to me. One is I'm a student of Title IX. Senator Patsy Mink of Hawaii, who was instrumental in passing Title IX, did not just intend it to be for athletics, but for higher education. And I trust, because of our values in our district, that Chancellor Burke has already probably started looking into the concerns that were raised today. Because it's important that we do live up to our values and do our due diligence when it comes to concerns that are brought to us. The second thing is that I don't remember a time when we weren't concerned about finding employees who understood our student population, how diverse it is from Saracosa to Porterville to Bakersfield College. And I'm confident that we will continue to do that in our searches, both for the chancellor and the president of Bakersfield College. That means that we may have to do a little bit of extra work in ensuring that our consulting firms looks far and wide to bring the best to us, so that we have good choices to make. And it's always good when you're choosing between quality people to find exactly the right person who's going to best serve our district and our college. So I'm confident that will happen.
Thank you. Trustee Scribner.
One for everybody. I want to start by thanking Dr. Habib for hosting us. I want to also thank you for inviting me for a tour. I look forward to scheduling that in October, November. And Maribel, thank you for all you do to make today happen and for that tour that we're scheduling together. I have to say how impressed I was with the student ambassadors and all of you who contribute to that idea that we're creating a space where everyone is welcome and included. And I think we're in a time more than ever where that's really necessary. So for your generous hearts and your vulnerability and just, you know, smiles, thank you for all the work you do. Keep it up. It's important and our students need it. And it's building culture. That's important. I want to say thank you to Dr. Hancock for inviting me to the 50th celebration. I also want to congratulate you. It was great that the mayor was there, but I think more importantly, the fact that you had two of the leaders at China Lake in attendance with their families. You had the superintendent of schools I think that you have the key players that are going to contribute to the partnerships necessary for success, and building relationships with them, I think is so important, and just proves that we are so fortunate to have you in that role and understanding what your role truly is. So thank you for making that count. And I just want to say what a terrific event that was, opening our Veterans Plaza. I am Johnny come lately. I had nothing to do with the amazing success of making all of that happen. I want to just thank my colleagues here who did contribute to that, and the team that made that happen. It was wonderful to watch it come together and to see such an appropriate focus for our community to have a place for those veterans who we invite and include in our journey and on our campuses.
Thank you. Trustee Corrigan.
Yeah, just briefly, thank you, Dr. Habib, for hosting us today, and all the folks that helped put this on. We appreciate it very much. We know it's not easy. I was sitting here thinking of a couple of things. I'm sorry I couldn't be at the Veterans Memorial. I was planning to, President Walker, but we're in the ag business, and California is one of the most unique agricultural areas in the world. I don't know if everybody knows it, but we either plant or harvest something 365 days a year. Every day we're harvesting. So I had Japanese buyers in looking at crops, and we just don't want to miss that opportunity. And my managers insisted. So anyway, I apologize for not making that. I did talk with Congressman McCarthy later as he was going to Hawaii and then on to Japan. So I was pleased that he got there. One thing I thought I might say today that I don't think we've ever talked about, Porterville College is a unique campus since 1927. It's got a lot of interesting initiatives. I attended Porterville College before I went on to Fresno State, and it was tuition free then. There was no tuition. Books were expensive. But I think what's most unique is I've been involved with the Porterville College Foundation since the mid-90s. I'm not sure when I went on the foundation. The foundation is unique in that it provides, it was formed in 88 or 89, maybe I've been on since then, and it raises money to provide scholarships to its students. I don't remember the exact number, Dr. Habib, but $165,000 a year we award, is it in that area?
Sometimes if you include PC First, it's over 200.
Well, okay, county PC First 200. So we offer PC First to students that are doing well in high school to come to Porterville College. $500 or $1,000 scholarships, if I remember. But how we go about raising this money is very unique. Porterville College Foundation sponsors a swap meet across the street around that stadium every Saturday. We raise between $440,000 and $500,000 a year at a swap meet. We man the swap meet, we manage the swap meet. Maribel used to run it at one time. And it is a very labor-intensive and shared responsibility with the college. The college is a very good landlord for us and partner. But it is very unique. It's an active working board that's very conscientious. Its mission is to provide scholarships to our students and to do good works on campus. So next time you're thinking about Porterville College, you have a Saturday, you can come see our swap meet. But it's what I tell the community, you show me another activity in this community where 5,000 people show up every Saturday to walk a swap meet for $1 a person, and that's what shows up out there. It's an amazing event, and it's good for the community. Thank you again. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Trustee Corkins. I'll just conclude with echoing the comments of my fellow trustees. Sincerely, Dr. Habib and the Porterville College family, thank you for hosting us. We truly appreciate your efforts, and to hear about all the wonderful things that are happening in Porterville College is just warming. It warms the heart. Thank you to Miles Vega for his service, and congratulations on earning the emeritus recognition. Jasmine Quinones, congratulations as well on being recognized as the manager of the month. You know, I want to make a brief comment about the education plans and the college reports. I think the things that stuck out to me and that I'm most pleased to hear is a lot of discussion about growth and expansion. And I think that's very important. You know, as a college district, our mission is we're not in the business of selling widgets. I mean, we're in the business of providing service. And more specifically, the service we provide is providing education to people who desire it. and supporting our local industries, but providing them with a skilled and prepared workforce. And so to hear, about expansion and growth is really positive for me. And so thank you as you focus on those things. To kind of conclude here, we had some folks comment about the selection committee process for both chancellor and president searches at our last meeting and again today. And I want to thank Chancellor Burke for giving us a breakdown on the composition of the selection committee. And want to just remind folks that we'll work really hard and be diligent to ensure that the composition of those committees are reflective of our communities and the industry needs and the needs and wants and expectations of the folks that we serve. And our goal will be to provide candidates that will be the best and brightest to help lead our district and our individual college. So with that, I'll conclude by saying that as previously shared, the Board of Trustees are supporting 2 community college district presentations at the ACCT Leadership Congress being held in Las Vegas, Nevada next month. It's my pleasure to announce that Trustees Gomez, Heitzberg, and Jimenez will be designated as voting delegates at the ACCT Leadership Congress, with Trustee Scribner serving as an alternate delegate. So with that, I want to thank everybody again and congratulate everyone as well. And at this moment, we are hereby adjourned.
Good lunch. That was wonderful.